Those pits look like craters through the lens, but trust me, they don't look that bad in real life. Hey, and welcome back. I wish I could see the process of how these handles were made. I chucked it in the collet several times trying to get it to run out better than that, and the shoulder appears to be square up to the collet and everything appeared to be nice and even, but as you can see it's really wobbly and that makes it difficult to get it smoothed back out, but hey, it is what it is. The graduated collar is seized onto the hand wheel, and as you'll see in a minute, it's mostly just because of dried oil and not rust, but I couldn't figure out a different way or a better way than removing it other than doing this, and it works pretty good. Just want to make sure that you remove it from the vise before the hand wheel comes out of the collar so that it doesn't collapse and deform the collar. This is the cross slide hand wheel mount flange, and I'm trying to be very careful here buffing it because I want to keep the original paint. I had just finished buffing off the face of this, and you can see that some rust is already starting to come back. That's why I like to wait a day or two at least before I reassemble anything so I can catch any of that. This lathe comes with a threading stop, and reading straight from the Rockwell manual, it says, "This exclusive built-in threading stop enables you to cut threads faster, and the chance of error is minimized." And if you'd like to know more, you can read about it on page 11. And after losing the micro-sized clip that holds that boomerang-shaped stop on, well, the third time was the charm, and I actually did lose it. So I had to go dig in the pile and find one. When the threading stop is engaged, the boomerang-shaped piece engages the roll pin in the back of the hand wheel. Would have been very easy to take this collar over to the wire wheel and just blast the rust right off of it, but I didn't want to cause any damage to it, and it's pretty much not replaceable. It would be very difficult to find or to make. So as a result, I spent about 40 minutes doing this. Eventually, my patience is rewarded. The lock for the graduated collar is pretty cool. It's a half moon shaped piece, and the screw has a point on the end of it, and whenever you tighten it, it just pushes the wedge out, and it locks the collar down pretty hard. There's no slipping. All right, so this is an old mechanic's trick, is to give the vice jaw a tap while it's under pressure, and it will seat whatever it is that you're trying to seat. I don't have a press, and so before you call the vice abuse hotline, just know that I didn't hit it that hard. This key is a little loose in the slot, so it doesn't want to stay put, and it takes me a couple of times to figure out that I need to do something different. There I'm flipping the boomerang up into the inside of the hand wheel. And you don't have to actually hold the threading stop for it to work. It will stay put all on its own. I'm just messing around with it. The graduated collar and lock mechanism are working beautifully. The compound is not seized, but it's definitely seen better days. There's evidence that it was crashed at least one time, and certainly someone has been inside of it. And if you get in a hurry and you pull a bonehead move like stripping out the head of an Allen set screw, well, there is reprieve if you get a slightly oversized Torx bit and hammer it home, it'll come out. And to get your bit back, just clamp the bit in the vise and tap the screw off with a punch. I'm going to put this in the blast cabinet, but I don't want to blast the top face here where the tool post is going to seat, or the ways obviously, and the back where the graduated collar lines up. So the gib is definitely in sad shape. It's had several issues, one of which is that it's bent. And then the others is it looks like someone took it out and drilled some countersinks into it to keep the screws located because it was sliding. There's evidence that it was gouged at one time because it got jammed, or maybe that's from the crash that it had. I don't know. But I straightened it out as best I could, and I'm taking out a gouge on one side and smoothing out the side where the set screws go. I may wind up replacing this. I don't know. Once I get everything put together, then I'll be able to tell how well it works, if I need to replace it, etc. And yes, I'm using mineral spirits to do wet sanding. You can actually save that piece of paper by just wiping it dry and letting it air dry flat, and the next day you can just put it back in your pile. This lathe didn't come with a tool post. I'm still searching for one. But in the manual, it shows that it came with a lantern type tool post, and the mount here on the compound definitely looks like that's what they were using. It's really chewed up, but fortunately it's not broke out too bad. Once I get a proper tool post mounted in there, it should be fine. And here I'm just doing some light deburring to clean up those chewed bits. I don't want to paint that curved bit there above the tool post mount, so I did some creative taping here where I put the tape down and then I doubled it back and then put a little piece of tape to hold that. And normally I would use a razor blade to do this, but that worked out really well. You can see I got a very crisp, clean line and absolutely no bleed. Even after some repair, you can see that the gib is still pretty sad. So like I said, I may revisit that later. And the set screws that were in the compound were 1/4 20 by half, which is what the manual says is supposed to be there, but they're way too short. So I found some longer ones. They're a little bit too long. Maybe I can actually put jam nuts on them if I wanted to, but don't think I need to, as they're nylock type. There are some in-play adjustment shims that go between this plate and the end of the shaft, and you'll see in a moment that that needs to be corrected. I have to dig out my shims. I've got them somewhere. I got to find them and get it sorted out. And there's the excessive in-play right there. I just need to shim it up. And the screw itself seems to be very tight into the nut. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of backlash there. I'll be able to tell better once I get it completely assembled. Next time we'll discuss the results of my not so scientific experiment. Hey, thanks for watching.